Broccoli and turmeric help cleanse the liver. Chlorella acts like a magnet for heavy metals, while beets are great for purifying the blood. There are foods that can really help our bodies in the detoxification process, but you need to know which foods these are and increase their amount in your diet. That's why today I'm going to present to you the 13 most effective foods that help us remove toxins from the body and take care of our health. Spinach is real regenerative fuel for our cells because it contains quite a lot of chlorophyll, and the magnesium it has helps our cells repair damaged DNA. DNA that has been damaged by toxic compounds and heavy metals. And here's something new that will be surprising for many people. Previously, spinach was on the list of products that were surprisingly forbidden for people with elevated uric acid levels, such as those with gout. But now, according to the latest research and many years of clinical observations, it turns out that the purines, from which uric acid is later formed in the body, the purines found in spinach, do not have a negative effect on us. In general, it turns out that plant-based purines, unlike those found in animal products, do not cause a spike in uric acid or trigger disease flare-ups. That's why it's definitely worth including them, like adding them to our diet. The second product is beets. Beets are generally blood cleansers, and there are actually several mechanisms at work here. First of all, beets are very good at supporting liver function. They strongly protect liver cells from damage by toxic compounds, and the substances found in beets also participate in the second stage of detoxification. This second stage involves turning very toxic compounds into ones that are less dangerous for us and also making them water soluble. That's why later these compounds can be carried by the bloodstream to the kidneys, and the kidneys further filter them. Thanks to beets, the blood that leaves the liver and flows toward the kidneys is definitely cleaner. But that's not all. I'm sure you already know that beets are recommended as a wonderful way to oxygenate our bodies. And again, that's for two reasons. First, they contain folic acid and vitamin B6, which also improve our hemoglobin levels. Raw beets, beet juice, and beet kvass are always recommended to raise hemoglobin levels, but beets also contain compounds called nitrates. In the body, they produce nitric oxide, which relaxes and dilates blood vessels. The blood flows more smoothly without obstacles, oxygenating all our detoxifying organs, but it also improves heart function. The heart works better, it pumps blood more efficiently, and the blood also takes part in the detoxification process. Just one product, and it has such an amazing effect on our body. Broccoli is like a protective shield for our intestines and our liver. Broccoli contains sulforaphane, and that's an active substance that protects liver cells from damage caused by toxins. Yes, the liver has its own detoxification processes and our body does cleanse itself, but the toxins that reach the liver, sometimes in very large amounts, can damage liver cells, and sulforaphane helps protect these cells from chemical compounds. It protects the lining of our intestines in exactly the same way, and in addition, it has scientifically proven anti-cancer effects. It helps prevent cancerous changes from developing on the mucous membranes in the digestive system. Turmeric, the next product on the list, curcumin is probably one of the most thoroughly researched substances with anti-inflammatory properties. But it also additionally stimulates the production of digestive juices and bile. And that means that when bile flows better, the liver gets rid of all that waste faster and our body detoxifies from toxic compounds more quickly. Chlorella is an algae that has an amazing chelation ability. It also collects various waste in our intestines, including mercury and lead, very dangerous heavy metals. and it removes them from the body before they have a chance to be absorbed and travel to different tissues, and even before they can damage the mucous membrane itself. That's why it's worth adding chlorella to your supplementation from time to time, as it will be a good addition to your diet. Garlic and onion are quite well-known products. They often appear in our kitchen, but it's worth having even more of them, and preferably in raw form. It's thanks to these sulfur compounds. Sulfur compounds play a huge role in the detoxification process and in the formation of glutathione, one of the most important antioxidants in our body. If it weren't for glutathione, we would actually be absolutely defenseless against toxic compounds and heavy metals. The next product is like a soft, gentle brush for our intestines. These are apples. The pectins contained in apples not only help with the process of bowel movements, but they also absorb toxic compounds. This is also very important, and apples contain quite a lot of different active ingredients that support the function of our intestines and, among other things, the function of the brain. It's well known that the intestines and the brain are closely connected, and since I already mentioned the brain, it's worth paying attention to the next product. This is green tea. Green tea contains many polyphenols that will protect the brain and the nervous system. And here, look, on one hand, we're talking about cleansing the body and suddenly about polyphenols for the brain. But this is very important because it's not just about cleansing the body of chemical or toxic compounds, but also those that are produced in metabolic processes during our life. These are the very dangerous molecules that can even cause cancerous changes. I'm talking about free radicals, and that's exactly the antioxidant effect that green tea has. With the whole huge load of these amazing polyphenols, there's still an amazing Polish superfood on our list. Do you know what it is? It's Aronia berries. Aronia berries are so rich in polyphenols that probably no exotic berry or fruit can compare to them. It's incredibly powerful as an anti-cancer product above all, but the compounds found in Aronia also help protect our bodies from pollutants, such as smog or cigarette smoke. Well, what can I say about smog? In Poland, that's obvious. Especially during the heating season, we often hear on the radio not to go outside because the air is heavily polluted. And unfortunately, we can't always stay at home, and those substances get into our bodies. And that's exactly what chokeberry does. It protects us and, in addition, prolongs the process of youth by slowing down the aging of our cells. Lemon. I think many people would say that this product does have a detoxifying effect because it alkalizes the body, which means it improves all its functions. Indeed, lemon helps us maintain that acid-base balance, but that's not all. It also improves digestive processes because it supports the secretion of digestive juices and bile, and when bile is released smoothly and is liquid, all the waste in the liver doesn't get stuck. So that's very important. And it's worth squeezing some lemon juice into warm water from time to time, which we drink throughout the day to properly hydrate our body and support the smoothness of daily detoxification processes. Another wonderful product is ginger. It can be used in powdered form or as fresh root, and it's a product that supports intestinal transit, so that the intestines cleanse themselves better, so that blockages don't form there, but it will have a positive effect not only on the intestines. Ginger also generally supports detoxification in another way because it helps with blood circulation and lymphatic circulation. See, different products affect the body in different ways. That's why it's so important that when we talk about the whole list of detoxifying products, we shouldn't just pick 1, 2, or 3, but try to make sure that all of them appear on our table from time to time, especially since these are products that are absolutely available to us. And of course, that's not all. The next product will be flaxseed. That jelly that forms from flaxseed acts as a light, gentle dressing for our intestines. It also supports the process of bowel movements because, as we know, constipation is the biggest enemy of detoxification. And we can't forget about sauerkraut. Actually, all fermented foods will be very helpful for us. Not only do they improve digestion and bowel movements, but they also provide the body with essential probiotic bacteria. So they're a really great addition to all the other products. I know that many people might say there are a lot of vegetables on this list. And some people have problems with vegetables because they can't digest fiber. In general, we don't have the enzymes. Humans don't produce the enzymes that digest fiber. That's why if you have trouble digesting cabbage, especially fermented cabbage, for example, if you experience bloating, pain, or rumbling in your stomach, you need to help your gut flora get used to it. You should start eating cabbage in very small portions, gradually adding those extra probiotic bacteria and helping your gut flora get used to it. That's one way to do it. Another way is to try other fermented products, not necessarily cabbage. Sometimes fermented beets can be gentler on your body. Really, you can ferment all kinds of vegetables and herbs. Choose the ones that make you feel good. You can also start with sauerkraut juice, which will definitely be milder. However, since the human body doesn't produce the enzymes that digest fiber, we can support our bodies by using enzymes in the form of supplements. But here we're talking about absolutely natural plant-based enzymes, because we can consume such plants, or we can support our bodies with supplements. But look, my dears, besides the list of products I mentioned to you, it's also worth paying attention to a few other things. Because the diet can really be very simple when it comes to detoxification, which supports the liver, kidneys, and intestines. But in general, you need to approach this topic holistically. What does it mean to be holistic? I talk about this in detail in my book Świadomi Detox, and I know that many people already have this book. Some have already read it, and some are in the process of reading it. So I encourage you to write comments about what you think of the book about detoxing and in general. How do you like our list for today? Maybe you would like to add something to it? Please feel free to write in the comments. I will be grateful to you and thank you so much for being with me, for watching. I wish you all the best and lots of health. This was Natalia Samaretz with you.